April is right around the corner with a whole new batch of movies for the season, so I thought it'd be fun to go through the April releases chart and pick some of my most anticipated and most curious projects and predict whether they will be a hit, flop, or mid in 2 categories. Financial, will the movie make a profit? And cultural, how people will respond to the movie through reviews and online discourse. The list is in no particular order, and near the end, I'll have some honorable mentions. First off, we have Warfare, a new war drama directed by Ray Mendoza and Alex Garland about Navy SEALs surviving insurgent territory in 2005 Iran war. I'll be honest, I thought we were done with these Iran war dramas. It feels like an idea they dusted off from a 2010s backlog of unmade scripts, but I will say that having Garland attached to this after his incredible visual scope and feel with Civil War does get me excited for the project. The cast is totally inspired with names like Kit Connor, Will Poulter, Joseph Quinn, and Charles Melton. This could be a surprise hit in April and mark a significant expansion to A24's already impressive library of original small budget movies. I think this will be a financial hit. The net budget is reported to be around $13.5 million. The ceiling is relatively low for them to make a profit. Given that I haven't seen much of the marketing material for this and the subject matter, I think this will have a mid-cultural impact. The buzz just isn't there for a movie that's coming out in less than 30 days. Next up, The Amateur, a new action thriller directed by James Howes, a CIA decoder enacts vengeance on a terrorist that killed his wife. This has the potential to be a sleeper hit. Rami Malek isn't exactly a box office draw, but the premise seems like it has some entertainment value. I haven't seen much of the marketing for this movie or heard any buzz at this point. The rest of the cast includes names like Rachel Brosnan, John Bernthal, and Lawrence Fishburne. As enticed as I am for this movie, I'm thinking this will be a financial flop. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a reported estimated budget, but my gut is telling me that it won't make a profit, and probably a mid-cultural impact. It just doesn't have enough buzz around it or an interesting enough premise to fuel a significant discourse. I just don't see people talking about this movie after its release. Next up, Drop, a new thriller from Universal Pictures, directed by Christopher Landon, the same directors who gave us movies like Happy Death Day and Paranormal Activity. A blind date goes horribly wrong when a woman receives a phone message from an anonymous source who threatens to kill her son unless she kills her date. I'm very excited for this one based on the simple but crazy plot alone. It stars Megan Faye and Brandon Sklenar. Not huge star power, but I think it will be a pleasant surprise this April. I have to say that this will be a financial hit because its low budget of $10 million is enough to be profitable, and I think this will have a wide appeal to the thriller audience. And because of the premise, I think this will be a cultural hit. Expect lots of memes, positive word of mouth. I think this movie is going to be a hit amongst casual audiences. Next up, Sinners, a new adventure from Warner Brothers Pictures, directed by Ryan Coogler, the same director who's brought us movies like Black Panther, Creed, and Fruitvale Station, and he's teaming up with Michael B. Jordan once again in this story about twin brothers who discover an evil when they return to their hometown. From the marketing material and posters, it looks like this is a vampire movie that takes place in the 1930s. It's only 1 hour and 30 minutes, which is no indication of the quality of the movie, but with a story like this, I'd expect there to be a lot to cover in that time frame. The movie also stars Haley Steinfeld, Lee Jun Lee, and Omar Benson Miller. The estimated budget is about $90 million, and for an original period piece vampire movie, this will need a killer marketing campaign to be profitable. That being said, I think Coogler is one of the greatest directors working today, so I think this will be a financial hit and a cultural hit given his track record and the talent involved. Next up, The Legend of Ochi, an adventure fantasy from A24 and directed by Isaiah Saxon. It looks like this is his first big feature-length film. The story follows a young girl who stumbles upon a baby Ochi and embarks on a journey to return the baby to its family. The movie stars Willem Dafoe, Helena Zengel, Finn Wolfhard, and Emily Watson. This looks like it could be fun. There's some beautiful visuals and the cast is pretty solid. I like the practical design of the Ochi, and come on, you know the merchandise is gonna go hard if this movie does well. Estimated budget is around $10 million, so this has serious potential to do well, especially with families. I'll say financial hit and cultural flop. I just think it's an A24 movie, so a wider audience will probably not see this, unfortunately, despite it being a family fantasy adventure with some E.T. resemblance. Next up, Minecraft, a Warner Brothers movie directed by Jared Hess, who's done movies like Nacho Libre, Napoleon Dynamite, and Masterminds. And people get sucked into a portal that leads them to the overworld, where they'll need to master the terrain to get home. The movie stars Jason Momoa, Jack Black, Emma Myers, and Sebastian Eugene Hassan. Sounds a lot like Jumanji. I never got into Minecraft, so I'm looking at this as an outsider. It just looks like a crazy movie. The visuals are pretty cool, but I didn't get the humor. I think this has such a massive fan base for the games that this could go either way with the audience. audience. The estimated budget is about 150 million. I think this will be a financial hit just because of the curiosity and mass appeal. This will likely cross 350 and probably have a mid-cultural impact. It looks like it's not as accessible to a wider audience with all the in-game references and jokes. The gaming community might get a kick out of it, but the average audience just won't care as much. And here are my April honorable mentions. Starting off with Havoc. For you home viewers out there, a Netflix original action thriller directed by Gareth Evans, who's given us movies like the Raid remakes and a movie called Apostle. A detective investigates a web of corruption and conspiracies as he fights his way through criminal underbelly. A vigilante movie made by an action director could be pretty cool. If you're looking for bone-crushing, bullets-flying action, I'm sure you'll have a good time with this one. The movie stars Tom Hardy, Jesse May Lee, Timothy Olyphant, and Forrest Whitaker. Since this is a Netflix release, I won't make a financial prediction, but I'll say this will have a mid-cultural impact. It doesn't look like it's reinventing anything, but it looks like it'll execute on the action set pieces. Next up, Until Dawn, Sony Pictures' new horror movie based on the popular video game and is directed by David F. Sandberg. He's done movies like Shazam, Lights Out, and Annabelle Creation. The story follows a group of friends who break into an abandoned visitor center and are picked off by a masked killer. However, they wake up and they are forced to relive this terror over and over again. The movie stars Ella Rubin, Peter Stormare, and Maya Mitchell. Video adaptations are cursed for the big screen, so I will have to say this is a financial flop and a cultural flop. Next up, Screamboat, the much anticipated horror comedy directed by Stephen Lamort, who's done a few movies I've never heard of. This is the reimagining of Walt Disney's Steamboat Willie character as an absolutely terrifying costume killer. And yes, they are leaning heavily into the camp and the craziness that the premise promises. The movie stars David Howard Thornton, the guy who plays Art the Clown in the Terrifier series, Kaylee Hyman, and Jesse Posey. This one's tricky, but I think the fans of campy horror will flock to this. Probably a financial hit because the budget is so low at around 2 million, and I'm gonna say cultural hit. The people who want to see this know exactly what they're getting into. Are you guys excited for these April releases, and which ones are you most excited for? Are there any that you're excited for that didn't make my list? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks everyone for watching. Subscribe for more monthly movie predictions, and I'll see you in April.